Let's step straight into the shadows of one of the most chilling and consequential investigations in American history. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're opening the Midnight Files to examine the Oklahoma City bombing. We're going to dive deep into America's deadliest domestic terror attack. We'll look at how an incredibly ordinary morning was violently shattered, how investigators pieced together a literal mountain of rubble to find the truth, and how the nation fought for justice in the aftermath.
You know, there's an old investigative adage. Every case leaves behind evidence. Every mystery leaves behind questions. Keep that in the back of your mind as we go through this today. Because when you're looking at a crime scene of this unimaginable scale, it honestly just feels like pure chaos. But within that chaos, there's a trail. There are threads of evidence just waiting to be pulled. The stakes of the evidence we're about to uncover absolutely couldn't be higher, and the questions left behind would go on to shape national security for decades.
Section 1. The Darkest Morning. April 19, 1995.
To really understand this investigation, we kind of have to start with just how completely normal this morning was. The target was the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City. Now, this wasn't just some faceless government structure, right? It housed critical federal agencies like the Secret Service and Social Security. But heart-wrenchingly, it also had a functioning daycare center right inside. So in the early morning hours, hundreds of everyday Americans arrive for work. Between 8 and 9 a.m., it's just your ordinary Wednesday unfolding. Folks are grabbing coffee, dropping kids off at daycare, settling in at their desks. Absolutely no one saw what was coming. And then, at exactly 9:02 a.m., the timeline just stops.
Section 2. The Crime Scene. Ground Zero. At 9:02 a.m., a rented truck packed with explosives detonated directly outside the building. The sheer scale of this blast is honestly hard to even wrap your head around. It didn't just damage the building, it literally sheared off a massive portion of the concrete structure. The shockwave was so powerful it shattered windows for blocks and was felt miles away. Emergency responders rushed in immediately, and the whole country was just glued to their TVs, watching rescue teams frantically dig through mountains of rubble. But the heavy, beating heart of this explainer comes down to one single number: 168. That's the number of lives lost that morning, which tragically included 19 children from the daycare. On top of that, over 680 others were injured. Federal employees, visitors, first responders. The human cost here was just immense.
Section 3. Connecting the evidence. The forensic breakthrough.
So while these heroic rescue operations are happening, a massive parallel operation is rapidly spinning up. Within mere hours, the FBI launches what becomes one of the largest criminal investigations in U.S. history. Just think about the sheer task ahead of them. Agents had to sift through thousands and thousands of pieces of debris. It's the ultimate needle in a pulverized haystack. But here is where the absolute power of forensic science kicks in. The major breakthrough came down to 3 critical steps. Step 1. Amidst all that devastation, investigators actually managed to recover a twisted piece of metal, the rear axle from the truck. Step 2. From that damaged axle, they extract the vehicle identification number, or VIN. And Step 3. That one string of numbers let them trace the truck right back to a specific rental company where witnesses were able to give physical descriptions of the man who rented it.
Section 4. The 90-minute arrest. A shocking coincidence. Okay, what happens next is easily one of the most astonishing twists in modern investigative history. While the FBI is meticulously connecting the dots, axle to VIN to suspect description, the prime suspect's fate was actually being decided on a highway miles away. The timing here is just wild. Exactly 90 minutes post-blast, an hour and a half after the deadliest domestic terror attack in U.S. history, an alert Oklahoma Highway Patrol trooper makes a routine traffic stop. Why? The car was missing a license plate. The driver? Timothy McVeigh. The trooper arrested McVeigh right on the spot for an unrelated weapons violation. So by the time the FBI finally connected that rental truck to McVeigh using their forensic work, they made a stunning realization. They already had their guy. He was literally sitting in a local jail cell just for a missing license plate.
But the investigation obviously didn't stop there. The evidence ultimately pointed to 2 men. Federal prosecutors built an absolutely ironclad case. Rental records, meticulous forensics, eyewitness testimony, the whole shebang. Timothy McVeigh was convicted on multiple federal charges in 1997, sentenced to death, and executed in 2001. Terry Nichols, who the evidence linked as an accomplice who helped prep the attack, was tried separately. He received multiple life sentences without the possibility of parole. The evidence left behind had successfully answered the questions of the mystery.
Section 5. A Changed Nation. The Legacy of Oklahoma City.
But the story of April 19th doesn't just end in a courtroom.
This tragedy left a deep, enduring scar on the American psyche, and it fundamentally changed how this country operates. The systemic changes forced by this were immediate and far-reaching. First off, federal building security was drastically strengthened nationwide so a vulnerability like this could never be exploited again. Second, emergency response procedures got a complete overhaul based on the massive rescue efforts at Ground Zero. Third, this case really elevated the importance of forensic science. I mean, proving that a single VIN on a ruined axle could crack a monumental case was a real game changer. And finally, it completely enhanced interagency cooperation. It proved that Highway Patrol, local police, and federal agents literally have to work seamlessly together.
Now, nearly 3 decades later, the Oklahoma City bombing remains a stark reminder of the devastating reality of domestic terrorism. But moving forward relies on justice, on the relentless dedication of investigators, and on the very conscious act of remembering. Today, the Oklahoma City National Memorial and Museum stands on the exact grounds of the Murrah Building. It serves as a permanent, solemn tribute to honor the victims, the survivors, the brave rescuers, and honestly, everyone whose lives were altered that morning.
Some mysteries are solved through a relentless pursuit of evidence, while others stay hidden in the dark. But the most important outcome of uncovering these truths is ensuring we never, ever forget the human lives at the center of the story. Which leaves us with one final, profound question to reflect on. How exactly does a nation find resilience after its darkest day? Thanks for joining us for this explainer. Keep asking questions, keep following the evidence, and we'll uncover the next story together.